It's that time of the week again. Bonjour, welcome back to the Mind'em podcast, where I get the chance to sit down with early stage entrepreneurs who have taken a leap and gone on to start something for themselves outside of the norm of a day-to-day paycheck. On this week's episode, I got the chance to sit down with Mr. Min Lee, who is the founder of Radiate Running, which is a trail running club here in Malaysia, and he is also the co-owner of Trailside Treats, which is an experience centre and cafe at the trailhead of one of the most popular hiking spots in Malaysia, which is Bukit Kiara. Min is an ultra-endurance athlete who has begun racking up some pretty serious times in the trails and getting wins in Malaysia and overseas. So he's actually been invited along to some championship races as well, which we're doing a treasure hunt for him to fund that. If you can find out where it is online, you should try and join that treasure hunt and come along. Great prizes to be won, fun to be had by all. He's been doing these endurance races all whilst running these two other endeavours as well, which is Radiate Running and Trailside. The reason I wanted to sit down with Min was because I've known him for many, many years. And we actually used to work together at a previous company, and I think one of the things that makes Min stand out is his perspective on life and mindset, perseverance, resilience, and how he kind of rolls all that into grit and running these incredibly long and very tough races. And I wanted to see how he can bring that into his entrepreneurial journey as well. He is a bit of a fitness inspiration for me, of course, even though we are miles apart when it comes to our athletic capabilities. A lot of the conversations I've had with Min over the years have caused me to take a pause, reflect, and intentionally make a decision where I'd like to go to next. And it's my hope that it has the same impact on anyone listening to this as well. So, here's my conversation with Mr. Min Lee.
Hi everyone, all cameras. Min, current endeavor. So basically, it's set up as a cafe, but it's
what's it called?
The vision's more than a cafe. So it's called Trailside Treats. I don't know if camera can see it, but yeah. So it's located 200 meters from the trailhead of Bukit Kiara. So that's why it's called Trailside. We serve treats. So treat yourself before and after your workout. Primarily we serve hikers, trail runners, mountain bike cyclists. Yeah, just a place to hang out. Build a community. Get people into the trails, enjoy nature, come here, hang out. You have shower facilities. You have food, coffee.
I want to basically find out more about how this actually came to fruition. Because I've always known you as a cyclist.
Yeah.
And then obviously in preparation for this, I was doing a bit of reading. You should be in jail. I like the shock on your face. I'm only joking. I didn't find anything bad about you online.
Okay.
ChatGPT did.
I wouldn't rely on ChatGPT.
I didn't realize as well that you've been writing on Medium since 2016.
Oh, I have, yeah.
Yes, you have. One of the things you said, this isn't just about me. It is about us living consciously, making responsible decisions, and giving back to the community.
Shit, when did I write that?
November 2017.
Wow.
Do you know there's not really a haiku? This was a poem that you wrote online on Medium. Do you not remember writing this?
No.
Do you know what it is in reference to?
No.
It was actually in reference to living a cleaner and healthier lifestyle with regards to flourish. Flourish?
Ah, right.
Flourish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
So
Don't remember.
What I'd like to do today is I want to know more about your entrepreneurial journey and how you actually got to this point in time. Struggles, some shit you got to deal with.
Right.
The good stuff, the bad stuff, the ups and downs, and basically why you actually started this thing in the first place.
Okay.
So,
Ooh.
I don't want to dwell on the past, but can we start there? Because, where were you born?
Years ago.
Where?
Not
when.
where?
Where?
Oh.
You
Come
went
here. Where? Here, locally. What?
yeah, because to go from here then to go studying in the US and spend a bit of time over there, it's a big jump, right? So how did you
Yeah.
end up in the US? Now, is that when you started your first business?
Yes.
So
Yeah.
how did you end up over in?
How did I end up there?
Mm,
Wasn't planned. Wasn't my intention to go to the US. So a little bit about me. I am a person who operates based on purpose. Like if I do anything,
mm.
there needs to be meaning to it. Like I'm not just doing things for, I know we're different people, for fun, right? Unless fun is the purpose, then sure.
Having fun
But
with intention.
very rarely do I have fun.
I can attest to that. You're not a fun person.
No. No. I'm
always,
miserable.
we haven't got time for that. On this episode, I've got time for you always if you want to talk about
Okay,
it.
sure.
Seek professional
But
help.
essentially, yeah, it has to be meaning. It has to have.
All right, but hang a minute. Where did that actually come from, though? Like this meaning, purpose, kind of intent-driven mindset. Has it always been the case, or is it something that's there's a whole nature and nurture thing, right?
I don't know. I just don't like wasting time. I feel like time is the most precious thing in this world. Like we all have 24 hours, and once that's gone, that's done, right? So when you're doing something, like how do you spend your time? How do you spend your energy? Like that's stuff that you're not gonna get back. We were running in the trail, so I also have like my own trail running community, which is called Radiate running, and we were in the trails today doing hill repeats, and people are doing like 6, 8, 10 times of a hill. And one thing that I told them was like, look, you don't get a second chance. Like you're here right now and you're at number 6. You should just go for 8 because there's no second chance.
Hey, you know what this reminds me of?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, which one? Number 60.
Everest.
Everest, number 69, number 70.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. So
I want to talk about that as well.
Yeah, if you don't complete it, you're here right now. You have to start from scratch all over again. Like, and you never know when you're gonna get that next opportunity, which is why seize every opportunity you have and make it meaningful. Like, we all have all the time in the world, but do we?
For you, how did the opportunity come about for the US? Was it on your radar to like study overseas?
Yeah. So coming back to purpose, right? So my mission in life is to eradicate poverty.
Bold.
And yeah, because I don't believe like the circumstance that you're born at, we all start at different stages in life based on where we're born. Some people don't have like parents. Some people are born into a poor family. We all start differently in life, but that shouldn't dictate, how they end up. I think, right? And I want to create a level playing field by why would a kid in I don't know, stereotypical, right, in Africa being born into a life of poverty not have the same amount of chances or opportunity, right? But that's I don't know where it came from, I think, but I just wanted to make sure that everyone has equal opportunity or equal access really to live to their full potential in life.
Do you think you weren't given the opportunity or access early on, and that's why you feel the need to?
No.
Right. Who wronged you, man?
No one. I think so. Good question. I had a chat with like a friend, and we were talking about where does drive come from, right? Why do people chase material stuff? Because so the concept of a void. Do you have a void that you're trying to fill, or there's no void and you're just giving without anything in return, without any expectation of anything in return? It's two different concepts. Like, who created that void? Like, why do we want that house? Why do we want more money? Why do we want more stuff, better stuff? Is there a void that we're trying to fill, right? It's always about, what can I get? What can I get? What can I get? How much can I get? Rather than how much can I give. So I think for me, the intention is like not really to get, but from a place of like whole. There's no void. And I believe everyone can get to that state where they feel whole. It's just a moment of realization, like, you know what, I don't need to chase all these things. Like,
When have you experienced that? When somebody's given without the anticipation or expectation of getting back from you. So somebody's just gone all out, delivered as much value as possible to yourself, just to see you do better, without wanting anything back from you.
I don't know. I think the first realization that I had was actually Marco, CEO of Super.
Oh, Mark Coe, CEO of Super. I know him.
Yeah.
Apparently he's quite a good guy. Hey, Mark. Sorry for winking.
I think just spending time, at Super, just seeing how Mark operates, like just giving, like out of generosity, like that clicked with me. Like, okay, you know what? Just be generous, and I think that's one of the best feelings anyone can experience. Just being generous, right? It's, sometimes you ask the question like, why do we work so hard to make money?
Yeah.
It's so that we can be generous with our wealth, so we can give.
I like how you said our wealth. Communism. It's like, you be generous with our wealth. I don't have wealth. But do you know what? I was actually listening to a podcast with Chris Williamson and Tony Robbins this morning. And they were talking about the idea of giving when you don't have anything is like the best way to become successful. And
that's tough because we talk about the mindset or like lack and abundance.
Yeah.
When you have nothing, it's so easy to just be in lack, right? Like, oh man, I need to improve my situation. Then it becomes very self-centered.
Yep.
There's that void that you're trying to fill.
Yeah.
But it's such an easy switch. I say easy, but it comes with, I guess, realization that life is more than just my own life.
I think it's repetition. So one thing's like these trigger moments, like, oh my God, I'm feeling a certain way. It's like, okay, that's a trigger for me to then, okay, well, what can I do to give back or add value? And then automatically I start looking for opportunities to help others. So whether that's involved in coaching or mentorship or whatever it is, like, okay, well, if I can turn up and start giving back to people, what is it? There's no such thing as a selfless act. Yes. So the act of giving back, obviously you feel good about yourself.
Yeah.
And when you feel good about yourself, it's like, okay, then technically it's a selfish act because you're doing it for yourself. But that's what I found. I found that the more people I help, the better I feel and the more progress I actually make.
Yeah. I think the word here is fulfillment, right? Whatever you do, they say follow your passion, follow, things. If you can do things for free without any expectation and you feel fulfilled doing it, then that is your path.
One of the reasons why I was kind of pressing on this, like, where did this whole thing come from? Like, was it your parents? Was it your upbringing? Was it like an environment? Was it social? Was it something that's just inherent in you? It was because I think one of the reasons why I really want to get into kind of helping and coaching and mentoring and all that is I think it filled a space that I didn't have, like, especially when I moved over here, right? Didn't really have anyone to look up to. And to be fair, I wasn't really out there looking for somebody to have as a mentor or a coach or anything like that. And I don't know if it's because I wasn't looking. You know what? It probably was. Probably because I wasn't looking or didn't know where to look. So I think the more I can do this and hear your story, the more it can help others as well. So that's why I want to know where this idea came from, this how much can I give back, this mentality.
Yeah. I have nothing to add. I don't know. Like,
let's find out.
Naturally, yeah.
So you did have some aspirations to study in the US, or was it aspirations to study overseas?
Yeah, study abroad. Like I did my A-levels, applied to a whole bunch of unis in the UK. Too ambitious, probably, or rather the course that I'm applying to is too competitive, like economics.
Okay.
So it's quite competitive, right? If I were to study, I don't know, like dance, probably I get into like a top uni.
You wouldn't. I've seen you dance.
I agree.
Why do you want to study economics?
Eradicate poverty.
Oh, okay. There you go.
Right. So the idea was, okay, study economics, work for the World Bank, IMF, write policy, advise governments to how they could go about improving their economic situation, and improving the lives of their people. That was the idea, right? That didn't get any good offers to any unis in
the UK.
except for Nottingham, which didn't make sense because we have a Nottingham campus here in Malaysia. Why go all the way there? So pivoted, as we call, applied to Australia, which is second choice. Just couldn't afford it because it's too expensive. Then applied to the US as the like a last, I guess, a last choice.
Why did you want to study overseas rather than studying economics or whatever here?
I don't know, opportunity, I guess. Like I think it's the prestige, right? Like if you want to work in the World Bank, IMF, and all that, they look at which university you graduated from. Because you're competing against, you have to understand the game that you want to play. Who are the players? What's the competition like?
Yeah.
So that's why studying abroad just makes sense, and also I guess international exposure, right? Not just being confined to this is all I know within Malaysia.
So you applied, and you landed. What did you? You did economics and what? You did two, right?
No, so the university that I studied in the States, it's called Soka University of America. It's founded by like a Buddhist philosopher.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so I studied. It's a degree in liberal arts.
Yes.
But I mainly took like economic courses, classes there, and it was during my time in the US. I took a course on social entrepreneurship that I realized, like, look, because we visited different businesses and seeing how the impact that they're making at a community level. For example, there's a bakery called, I don't remember what they're called, but they hired former inmates. They gave them job opportunities, and you're creating jobs. You're helping these inmates, live a better life, right? And I saw like the impact that they're making as a business, right? You don't need to go to the policy level to create a change, and that clicked with me. Like, if I were to go to work with the IMF or the World Bank, not only do I need to study and get a master's, probably a PhD. What would the world look like in 10 years? Could the world wait another 10 years for me to create some sort of change? So I realized, you know what? Let's try creating, look at business as a way to create change, the change that I want to see in the world.
Somebody famous said that. Somebody famous said that.
Yeah, I know. He stole it from me.
Yeah, of course he did. Of course he did. This is such a bro podcast, by the way.
Yeah, so that's...
I mean, all the while, right? So whilst you were getting more involved in or understanding social entrepreneurship, you also did internships, right? So you did an internship at Wells Fargo, if I'm not mistaken, was it?
Ish.
Remote?
So they're they're not exactly the bank, but the investment arm. They have different firms that work, operate under Wells Fargo.
Right.
So it's just mainly like investment research.
Okay.
And that was before I wanted to go into business. That was more policy.
Because you were also working on some government stuff as well.
I worked with like the local Senate
Yeah.
office, just working on policy research. That was the time before I pivoted to business.
But there seems to be some continuity. There's always something around economics or policy or whatever.
Yeah.
And then, would you say it's a pivot or an evolution? Is there a difference?
I suppose. I guess it's a different... Goal is the same, just a different way of getting there. Yeah.
So, social entrepreneurship. Whilst you were studying that, what were the businesses that you saw that were really making a difference?
That weren't.
Were making a difference.
Uh,
So I'm trying to not interrupt people having their breakfast at Trailside Treats, made by trail runners for trail runners.
Thanks.
Is
Thanks
that-
for the plug.
Is that it?
Businesses that were making a difference. I mean, there's so many, right? Like, you have people supporting like indigenous communities just based on I think that's quite typical here, even here locally as well, right? You have like products made by the indigenous people, and then it's being marketed and rebrand and sold so that they get an income as well, rather than just relying on self-sustenance, right? And some of that's being channeled into like education for these communities. So that's I mean there's so many, like even here in Malaysia, I've looked at, okay, what is it like to start a social enterprise. We do have an agency. I don't know if they're still around, because that was like a long time ago.
What is it? Like a social enterprise agency?
Yeah, I think it's under Magic, if I'm not mistaken. Social entrepreneurship something. So they give like grants or like a program. There's so many. I think, but ultimately, it's for me at least, like it's finding the impact that you want to make, the social impact that you want to make.
Yeah.
Needs to be quite clear. For me, it's still not clear yet. Like, how do I? Okay, which communities do I want to support? Which communities do I want to make an impact? Right, help elevate their life.
So when I was looking at what you were up to in the US, and I know I mentioned it is called Flourish, right?
Yeah, Flourish Food.
So Flourish Foods was it kind of covers quite a lot of things, basically food and nutrition, supporting
Right.
local economies as well. I read something about the idea of, what was it? Was it localized food as well? Like,
Yeah, we don't source food from more than I think it's 100 miles away. Yeah, so everything needs to be sourced locally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Seems like a conscious thing.
Yeah.
Which brings us on to kind of not just the social entrepreneurship side of things, but you're also vegan. When did that kind of journey start as well, and how is that kind of tying into the entrepreneur journey that you've been on so far? Oh, by the way,
Right.
would you consider yourself an entrepreneur?
Maybe, I don't know. I've never put that label on myself.
What label have you put on yourself? Change maker.
I'm just a co-owner of a business. Yeah, so I was so part of this public economics, I think. Was it environmental? Yeah, environmental economics class. We watched a documentary about water resources.
Right.
Because I studied in California, and we had very bad drought that lasted for years, and we watched a documentary learning where our water comes from, where it's being used. Livestock agriculture takes up the majority, actually, right? And I learned that it's just not sustainable to continue consuming meat, essentially meat production. I think also need to be in context. If you're in a kampong in, like, I don't know, Janda Baik or something, where you're just rearing your cows and chickens on a small scale, I think that's fine, right? But if you're talking about production, like if you get your chicken from supermarket, like, I don't know, Maiden, Giant, and all that, how are they producing that
basically the mass production of
right? So it's just not sustainable. It's just based on the water that you need, and we're not just talking about crop growth for these livestock, right? It's the waste that they produce, how cleaning the waste, and that wastewater, where does it go?
Right.
Does it pollute the environment? Like, if it's not gone through proper kind of like filtration and I guess processing, you pollute your clean water as well. And so yeah, it's a whole bunch of problems really, where water is being used. So I realized, you know what, every day we make choices of what we eat, right? Lunch, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, sometimes even more, right?
Don't look at me like that. Thanks, man. I know put on weight.
Yeah.
yeah, you have. You fat bitch. All right, thanks.
So if I'm making those choices every single day, I can make a change, even if it's just one person, like. And I realized, like, you know what, I don't think I can support where where the water is being used for livestock kind of
Basically, all the waste that comes with the consumption of meat and dairy products.
yeah. So it started with that. It started for environmental reasons. Then
Yeah.
you learn about animal welfare and how these animals are being treated, or rather mistreated. Not enough space. They're being fed, I don't know, hormones just to grow within 3 months and then slaughtered. Like, can you imagine your lifetime just being sped up and then you just die without probably not seeing the outdoors?
Well,
What a sad existence. Anyway,
I mean, to be fair, being force-fed up to be fat and then being taken care of to serve a purpose. Welcome to capitalism.
yeah, animal welfare. So that's how I ended up deciding
Was it just a big switch? Like immediately?
it was a
after-
big switch. It
was
was
like-
tough. Yeah,
was
cold
it-
turkey. Like, okay, yeah, you know what? Nope, no more meat.
Like, I'm out. This is the lifestyle I want. And then how soon after that did you start a business?
6 months. I say 6 months, but six months to a year. Yeah,
How old were you when you first started that business?
24. No, 25.
Were you still studying at the time?
No, so this is also, I guess, unconventional. So when you study in the States, if you want to stay in the States, typically people would apply for a job at a company that would sponsor your visa.
Right.
I did not do that because the visa that you're applying for is a lottery system. So even if you apply, it doesn't mean you'd get it. Even if you're the best, doesn't mean you'd get it.
Okay.
So I realized, what a shit game to play. Like,
I'm not playing that game.
no, I prefer to look, I take control of my own luck, and just so there are different categories of visas. So the visa that I was going for is like a O1 visa. So an O1 meaning like you're an outstanding person in your field. So it could be
So
business.
humble of you. I am the best. This is the visa that I want.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Because then you take luck out of the equation. It's based on merit. You know,
Okay.
like fuck luck.
Okay.
I don't. Yeah. This is. So yeah, I went for that. So the criteria to get that.
Was this like you say O1? Was this an independent visa or not attached to any particular?
No. Yeah.
Okay.
Not attached to any particular company or anything. So you either be an outstanding sports person, or you start a business with a certain amount of like revenue, and you employ 10 Americans under that business. So that was what I was going for. Like, okay, I'm gonna start a business and hopefully employ 10 Americans.
How
I
did you?
could have- what?
So you got the visa?
No, that's why I'm here.
So I thought you got the visa and that's what led you to start a business.
No, so starting the business was what will lead me to getting that visa.
Okay.
So I had a year of. So after you graduate, you're given a year of like, they call it the OPT visa,
Right.
which means like you have that 1 year to work and get
Figure it out.
Yeah, job experience to apply for either the H1B or basically a longer term visa.
Right.
Yeah. So I had 1 year to basically build that business. Didn't turn out the way I wanted it to be. That's why I'm here. But I wouldn't trade it for. I mean, I did not regret the decision. It was a good experience, you know. Just a one-man show,
One-man
doing
show.
everything.
It looked pretty good though. How did the idea come about? Specifically, and what was the business? You talk about it, but what was the actual business that you started?
Right. So it's basically vegan food delivery. Because at that time you have like Uber Eats coming up, you had like DoorDash coming up, but they were, you know, it's quite difficult to find delivery that just does vegan food. You know, it's usually non-vegan food. It's just typical food.
Were you basically trying to solve a problem for yourself?
Yes. Yeah, and that's also, I guess, one thing. Like, if you're gonna try to find a problem to solve, easiest problem is to solve whatever problem that you're experiencing, right?
Could you run me through that kind of journey or process that you went through from, okay, I'm either graduating, have graduated, or got some time. I want to start a business. This is and then where did the idea come from? And then it's like, okay, this is how I'm going to execute.
Ooh, I don't. Well, my memory is a bit foggy.
I mean, I can't remember what happened yesterday, so I mean,
Yes,
it's a
yeah,
it's a
okay,
big question
great.
to ask
Yeah,
of myself.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I think that the major decision was like, look, after graduating, if I wanted to pursue that business route, right? Like I talked about, okay, the focus is now no longer policy but business.
Yep.
I could do an MBA, right, to continue to stay in the States for another 2 years, or use that money and start a business and learn School of Hard Knocks, essentially. Like, why learn in a classroom when you can actually go through the shit and go through it, be in the trenches and learn. So that's what I decided to do. That was the major decision that, you know what, I'm not going to work. I'm not going to apply for a H1B. I'm just going to start this and, see what I can do. The idea itself.
But I think was it similar to your classmates? Or
No.
you just took your own path?
Most people either went to postgraduate studies, like a master's or a PhD, or worked with a huge corporation that can sponsor the visa, because it's not cheap to sponsor a visa anyway. There's like legal fees and all that.
Weren't you scared?
Was I scared? No.
Foreign country, starting your own business.
It was actually quite easy to start your own business in.
The process of starting your own business, but the thought of trying something, failing, not having a visa, and then ultimately
I have nothing to lose.
Oh, fair.
That's kind of like my thought process. Like, look, I am blessed because the university gave me a full ride scholarship.
Oh, damn.
I did not have student loans, so, and that was also a major factor that went into the decision to, you know what, let's just start the business.
How'd you get full scholarship?
By being the best.
Was it was it like an academic scholarship, sports scholarship?
It's academic, and also so the university basically grants scholarships to families with household income of below a certain threshold.
Right.
So that's also kind of like, I guess, the idea where eradicate poverty, right? Like you're giving people equal access to education, even if they can't afford it. Let's say your household income is less than $60,000 a year. You probably couldn't afford studying there, so they give you a scholarship to be able to study.
Did you know you were going to need a scholarship to study overseas?
Most probably, yeah. I mean, that was the reason why I didn't study in Australia.
Couldn't get a scholarship.
I didn't bother because they only gave out like 10 scholarships, and you can imagine the competition. So the chance of you getting that scholarship is like point something percent. I don't like to play games where I have like very small chance of winning.
Have you always been that calculative?
Yeah, I call it playing the smart game. That's the reason why I'm investing my time and effort into trail running rather than running a marathon, because the competition with a road marathon is way higher, and I know I cannot win that game. Look, if you want to be the best, there's no chance. Kipchoge, bunch of people in like Kenya.
Yeah.
There's just no way, right? So yeah,
would you say
choose games where you can win.
Play to your strengths?
Yeah, essentially.
Because I think you've always been. You were running track at Soka as well, right?
Yeah. And I did not win that game, so I decided to quit running track and run longer distances, because I knew like I don't have the speed, right? But I know I have the mental fortitude to just keep going.
Right. Then we can get onto the hill repeats and all that kind of stuff a bit later. It's interesting when you talk about the game that you want to play. I mean, when you started the business getting into vegan food delivery, I mean, that's competitive in the sense that you're playing in the F&B space, in the delivery space against people with deep pockets.
Right.
How did you make that decision to give it a shot? Because one thing trumped the other, right? There's this idea of, okay, I want to, like, veganism and bringing awareness to that, but then bringing access to, like, real good food. That seems to have trumped the idea of competition being very strong in the delivery space. And it's just like, you know what, fuck it, I'm going to try it anyway.
I think that's also one thing that I've learned, right? Like in business, it's the richest are in the niches, and that's quite kind of true. Like, so you want to start with a really clear focus of like a small group. You don't want to target like a large, like everyone, for example. You know, and I think that kind of like drilled down people that are competing against you, like because veganism or the vegan lifestyle at that time was just picking up. You know, we're talking about 2015, 2014. So competition in that space itself wasn't huge yet. So yeah, I thought, okay, yeah, it's worth giving it a shot and see where it goes. And another thing that I've learned as well is like you have to care about the community or the customers that you serve, because it's so easy to think about, oh, I'm not making money, right? Like, I should find new customers. Maybe I should pivot. I should think like when there's no focus, you're going nowhere. You're just spreading your attention, your effort everywhere.
Yep.
And coming back to this cafe as well, like the intention is very, very clear.
Yep.
We serve people, active lifestyle, goes into trails, you know, they want to hang out and all that. And that's why a lot of things that is designed that way, right? You wouldn't find a shower at any other cafe.
It's still very cold.
Yeah, maybe we'll install a heater next time.
That's just me, man.
Yeah. Yeah, just having that focus, I think it's one big thing I learned, right? Focus on the market that you serve.
Yep.
But also understanding how big that market could be. It might be small now, but that's a huge potential for it to grow.
How did you look at the trajectory then, back then, and like for kind of vegan food delivery, and also trajectory for now in terms of how big things could be? How do you assess that up front?
I think when I started like Flourish Food, I did some market research, just looking at how many.
What year was this as well?
2016.
2016. You were still in the US in 2016?
Yeah.
Shit, I've been here for 6 years. Oh my god. You haven't been back that long. When did you get back?
17.
And you joined Superhands when?
19.
Was it? Oh shit. Okay.
Yeah.
Fuck. Okay.
So where were we?
Yes, we were at kind of the market research for Flourish.
Yeah. So just looking at the price points, looking at how many restaurants are there within the area that does vegan food. Do they even do delivery? Right. So just assessing the market and okay, you know what? Yeah, this seems okay.
What was your vision for the business at the time?
Dude, make money, get the visa.
Was it?
Yeah.
Do you think that's why it didn't work out?
I think the time frame it's too short.
Right.
Like, how could you build an F&B business to hire 10 Americans within a year? And I think that's you need to have a certain number of revenue to be able to hire 10. Like, assuming each employee earns, I don't know, average, 40, let's say 40 grand.
Yeah.
So that's $400,000 in just payroll a year, which means your revenue needs to be in the millions, or because food costs and all that. So just wasn't feasible to pick that industry to get that visa. I think if you were to do a tech startup or whatever that's more scalable, probably.
Did you not consider yourself a technology business at the time?
Not really. No. I mean, people order online and
Yeah.
then it gets delivered, the next day or scheduled delivery.
Yep.
Um, yeah, it's still pretty. I don't know. It's not comparable to, I guess, Uber Eats or DoorDash,
Okay.
because they're focused on the tech. They don't cook the food. But for us, I cook the food.
Wait, you cook the food?
Yeah, I did everything. So from the branding, the marketing, the cooking of the food.
So your
Packaging,
so your business wasn't like an aggregator of other restaurants.
No,
It
it's
was a vegan restaurant
essentially
that delivered.
Yeah.
Was it through an app or online?
Online? Yeah,
Online.
a website. Yeah,
Holy, okay.
yeah. So
That sounds tough.
yeah. So it's 3 hours of sleep every day.
Far out, man.
Yeah, but wouldn't trade. I mean, when you're young, I'd say take those chances, because
Yeah.
you're probably never gonna get it ever again. Life does not give you second chances, which is why time. We talk about time, and
Yeah.
you probably don't get that opportunity again, or it won't feel the same. Like when you're 30, when you're 40, you want to do something like that, you probably be burnt out or you're gonna be really tired. But when you're young, go through the hard shit. Like, just take the chance, take the risk.
Man, that's brutal. That is brutal.
No, I mean, it's how bad do you want it, right? And I think I listened to a podcast yesterday about you need to have a very clear vision, and I think sometimes we just get lost in the sauce. You're just going day by day, not sure what the vision is anymore, or you don't have a vision. But that's something that I would encourage. Not just entrepreneurs, but most people, to really have a vision, a clear vision of where you want to be in life, right? Because that could dictate every single decision that you make. If your vision is like, look, I want to be able to travel full time when I'm 50, basically retired. What are the decisions or opportunities that you need to look at and make to be able to get you there? And that's very different from someone else's vision where, look, I just want a simple, comfortable life. I don't mind, working as long as it's easy. Then the decisions and opportunities that this person will look at is completely different. And comes back to advice as well. Like, I don't like giving advice, and I think for you as a coach, we rarely give advice. We ask the person,
Yeah.
where do you want to go? What decisions are you making now? What needs to happen for you to get there? We rarely give advice, and I think that's the difference. I think a lot of people think about coaching is like, oh, you tell me what to do. That's because coaching, the idea of coaching comes from like a lot of sports that we watch. Like the coach tells you, hey, do this, do this, do this. But that's completely different when you have someone coaching you with your life rather than just sports. But yeah, sorry, big circle.
No, it's interesting to hear the kind of thought process you went through. So how long did you run the company for before you decided, you know what, this isn't having the impact that I want, and back to Malaysia we go?
Well, I couldn't apply for the visa, right? I didn't have I didn't fulfill the criteria. So that was after 6 months of just in operations. I mean, yeah, I decided to just close it down. Didn't sell it to anyone because you don't have enough traction or revenue to justify it, right? Your valuation is probably going to be like, I don't know,
$50,
$5,000 or something.
Right.
Which, yeah.
So did you decide that you just like, okay, well, this isn't going to work out? Did you not want to try and stay in the US or have a look anywhere else? Or it was like, look, I want to kind of head back to Malaysia, check it out, see what I can do there before?
No. Well, I think I did look at staying in the US, but I think my options at that time were quite limited.
Right.
Like, I applied for jobs. I knew like, okay, this business isn't going to take off to get the O1 visa.
Yep.
Should I apply for jobs? Should I apply for school? I did both.
Was it? Did you apply for what, an MBA?
I did. I think I got admitted as well, but I didn't want to do it. Decided, just come back, whatever.
At that time, were you? Obviously, you mentioned about like being clear with the intent and purpose and all that kind of stuff. Did you have an idea? Like, look, if I'm definitely going to go back to Malaysia, and this is the reason why, and these are the things that I'm going to do. Was it that kind of clear at the time? Or
No. It was like, I don't know. The options presented to me in the US wasn't appealing for me enough to stay. So I decided to just come back and then figure it out from here. And I think, so coming back to clear intention, right? Like, I think there will be times where you feel like, okay, you know what? You're lost. Or rather, you're at a junction. Like, okay, you still need to figure things out.
Yeah.
Marco, CEO of Super, also did mention to me, like, as long as you have a clear where your North Star is, it is okay to sometimes have to. It's okay sometimes that you don't have everything figured out.
Bit of a mess in the middle. Right.
And we all go through periods in life, those kind of.
More often than not.
Yeah, but if you have a strong North Star, you can always come back to that and reevaluate. Okay, you know what? This is still the direction. Where should I go? Right? Yeah.
So you were okay coming back.
Yeah.
Did you relax for a little bit, or you straight back on a horse?
Not really. Straight back. It was probably like just a month break, or just to settle in, and then back to work.
Who was it with? Actually, you didn't want to start a business coming back?
No, I didn't have the vision, or I didn't have a clear idea or vision of what I wanted to start it. So I realized, okay, it's okay. Just work first and then figure it out along the way.
Right.
Yeah.
So you came back?
Yeah. Worked for a startup, building chatbots. And that opportunity came because I built a chatbot, or rather, I designed rather than built a chatbot under Flourish Food.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So we had a chatbot that people can just chat. We're like, hey, where do I get my nutrients from? Right? Let's say you're low on like zinc or vitamin A or vitamin B, then it will tell you, okay, these are the sources for you to get these vitamins. And we're talking about food rather than just a pill or supplements. So then people have an idea, okay, I can get, iron from like spinach, for example. What are the recipes that I can make that's plant-based? Then it gives you...
I mean, you built this yourself under Flourish?
Yeah.
So you were doing that, cooking, building a business, working on a website, working on distribution.
Yeah. So...
Right, fair play.
Yeah, that's how I ended up with my first job back here in Malaysia. Then they got acquired and I just joined Super.
You did?
Yeah.
As a referral. How come you joined? Why did you join Super Hands at the time?
I think it's still within so I was interested in learning about what businesses or how businesses are using AI to solve problems. And that's what I wanted to kind of like experience, right? Working with a data labeling company, you label different types of data, you learn from these different businesses how they're applying technology to create impact, right? So you learn about how computer vision is being used in agriculture to make it more efficient, less labor. Although yes, you're not creating jobs, but these guys are upskilling themselves to use technology rather than being in the field. They learn how to control the robots, they analyze the data. So it's more, what do you call that? Mental work rather than physical work in the field, right? So you're giving these people better, I guess, you're upskilling their analytical kind of skills.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's why I joined.
That's how we met.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Oh. It's okay. We're still here today, so.
six years later.
Mm.
Bit of a journey, eh? So we were working together for 3-4 years,
Yeah, three. Yeah, three. A little bit of
and then after that, you worked on your coaching business as well, right?
Yes, I did.
Still
Coaching
in
first-time managers.
yes, still in process, or have you
No.
parked that?
I realized, so coming back to knowing your customers and working with a small segment, that segment of people, because they're just starting out,
Yeah,
they can't really afford per se, right? Can't really afford coaching. So like, okay, they are the ones who need help the most, but unfortunately I can't sustain myself
yeah,
serving these people. So maybe it's just thinking about a different way to serve,
yeah.
them
Yeah.
while not being in survival mode all the time for myself.
Because that's the other thing I was going to ask. Yeah, they might not have the spending power specifically themselves, but is there another way to serve them?
Yeah.
So is the pull strong enough to kind of figure that out, or do you then move to something else that maybe you can have a bigger impact? So I know how long were you doing it for?
Not long. I think I've coached like 4 people
Yeah,
for 3 months. Just completely for free. Just earn my stripes. and and I gave them the option to continue. One of them continued,
yeah.
right, and they paid me. And he's now moved up in his career, which I felt like, okay, yeah, I think we did good here, because it's not just the coach, it's the person that they need to take the initiative and they need to stay on course.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So then, work on a coaching business. Did you then conceptualize this?
No.
Like, how the hell did this come about?
Okay.
Because I remember
It's
seeing
actually very
like
long.
I think it was just a random post on Instagram, and it was like, I think it was pictures of the bricks or something like that,
Yeah.
or pictures of like a space
It's just
or
an
a
empty,
drawing.
yeah.
It was like, I was like, what the hell is this? Like this, it looks like the idea just came from. It looked like it came from nowhere.
Right.
And then I'd forgotten about the Flourish business as well.
Right.
We spoke about that ages ago, and I was like, oh shit. And now we're here.
Okay. How did we end up here?
Yeah.
So I started trail running, and this is basically from trail running, right? I spent a lot of time here in Bukit Kiara, and as I was training alone at that time. I'm like, I wish there were people that I could train with.
Yeah.
And I didn't know, any communities and all that. So I decided, why not start my own community and bring people along the way.
At this time, how long had you been trail running for?
So I started trail running probably October 2023, and I did a few races towards the end of the year and beginning of 2024.
So it hasn't been a super long time, all things considered.
No, it's not. But I really enjoy, just being in nature, in the trails, right? And the community is so much more different from my previous experience with triathlons and road running and cycling. Because a lot of that, cycling is a bit different because you still have the social element, but with triathlons and road running, it's purely how good are you? It's always about pace. There's a lot of focus on the result, rather than the journey.
What was your first endurance race, whether that's cycling, running, trail, hiking? When was the first time you did anything for a long period of time?
My half Ironman triathlon.
By the way, I just want to say I'm loving how busy it is.
I don't know. Do we want to pause?
In a good way. No, not at all.
No.
I think we're okay. Hang on a minute. One sec. Are you thinking how much money you're making right now of people's happiness
No.
being here?
I'm just struggling to hear you.
Well, normally I'm shouting at you, so I have to be conscious about that fact.
Right.
So I was like, well, I want people to enjoy enjoy their time in the cafe rather than have to hear me droning on all the time. So,
Yes.
or your first foray into any sort of endurance.
Half Ironman triathlon. That's the endurance. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I did my first one before. Well, I did an Olympic distance triathlon, and then I'm like, okay, yeah, I guess I could go for longer. And then I did a half Ironman.
Where was this? Was this in the US?
Here.
Oh, it was here.
Yeah. Well, I did my first triathlon in the US, but
Right.
that one's a much shorter distance, and it was a reverse triathlon. So you swim at the end, try not to drown.
Brutal.
Yeah, I know.
Why would they do that?
I have no idea. It's a small local race.
Congratulations on not drowning.
Yeah, thanks.
That's pretty intense. Okay. So that was your first one.
Yeah, and that was before the whole lockdown situation, before COVID happened. That was in end of 2019, and I signed up for like a whole bunch, a few more races, but of course that didn't happen. And then when we reopened again, I'm like, nah, that the ship has sailed.
What, the triathlon?
Yeah, the triathlon, yeah, ship has sailed. Like, nah. So here we are.
Why didn't you want to pick up triathlons again? Didn't like it?
Boring, so monotonous. You do the process, the journey, the time commitment is just, I don't know. I just didn't feel like it, I didn't feel any sense of fulfillment
Okay.
throughout the entire process. And then when you go to the race, you finish, still same flat feeling, like, well, then why am I doing this? There was no clear purpose, really, rather than just, I want to see how far I can push myself, and that's why I did it. But other than that,
No, and that was it.
that was
Just
it.
like you want to prove how much better you are than everyone else. Is that what it was? It's like, oh yeah,
Yeah,
I proved that now,
Yeah.
and that's fine.
Yeah,
So trail running. So it evolved from triathlons.
triathlons and then cycling.
Yeah, you were cycling a lot.
Yeah, because I was doing triathlons at that time. You're cycling like 90 Ks as like a minimum ride. I spent a lot of time cycling. And then we gradually got longer and longer and longer and longer.
Dude,
to like
some of them were brutal. What was the furthest you ever cycled one shot?
260 something from
that's-
home to Fraser's Hill and back.
And then the other one, which is the Everesting side of things, that you
Yeah.
decided to do.
So I did Everesting as well.
Which
on
is?
the bike. I don't remember, man. 230 something kilometers total for just to get to the elevation.
And what's the elevation?
8,848.
I don't know why you do that. Why do you set out these challenges?
I decided to do the Everesting, the bike one, because what's his name? All Day Running Co. Jesse Itzler.
Oh
You've
yeah,
probably heard of him,
yes.
right? Yeah. Because he mentioned the concept of a misogi. You need to do one year-defining thing, so that when you look back, oh yeah, shit, I did that.
That sets the theme for the year. How often how long have you been doing that for? Do you still do it now?
Yeah, I just did an Everesting.
I mean, it's like setting out to do the one big thing for the year. Do you still set it as like a?
Yeah. Consciously, like, okay, yeah, just constantly looking for a challenge that goes beyond your comfort zone. Like, I don't know if I can do this, but it's big enough, like, and scary enough. Like, let's do it. So last year was doing 100 miles. Yeah. So
Running, right?
that was running. So that was the big one.
Which race was that?
Transtunning. It's a trail race. 100 miles, and you're getting to like 10,000 meters of elevation gain in total.
Far out.
So that was the big one, getting that done. And then this year was Everesting on foot rather than like basically running,
Yeah.
rather than on the bike. So got that done. And it's still early in the year, so I might find another challenge. Oh, actually, I do. Going to Spain, right? So representing Malaysia for the World Mountain Trail Running Championships. So that will be another year-defining thing for me.
When's that? June, July, September.
Yeah,
Sorry.
after your birthday.
Yeah. Fuck.
Is it on?
Is
on
my birthday
your birthday, 25th.
25th?
Yeah.
I thought you meant is my birthday on this year? Is that no? We're
Is
skipping. Fuck no, we're skipping this year. 100%.
Yeah. So that will be another year defining thing for me.
Did you start out the year? How do you plan for them? The big things that you want to do.
I don't plan for them per se. Like I don't know. It's whatever comes to me. Like
Yeah.
the opportunity, But in terms of like planning for the year, I do like a reflection, and then I look at areas in my life where I want to make improvements for the
Yeah.
next year, and it's maximum of like 3 to 4 areas only that I'm focused on. I think we talked about this when in our podcast as well, right? I think I don't remember what episode. We can plug it in later.
Yeah, you can see it here.
Yeah, here wherever it
Yeah.
is.
I'm just not the TikTok guy. So.
But yeah, so I just plan, the focus, and then opportunity just comes within that. Just do it.
So this year, how are you thinking about kind of planning like the big things that you want to do in the different areas?
I like to grow. For this year, I think what would make me really, really fulfilled is growing the community, like the Radiate running community. I know we have a business that I need to grow, but still, I think it's the community comes first.
What's the name of the community?
Radiate running.
Where'd the name come from?
Good question. So when I first started this, coming back to trail running, right? Like I was training alone. I wanted to bring people along the way, and I wanted it to be super intentional. I don't want it to just be another running club.
Okay.
So I read a bunch of books, which I would highly recommend. So The Art of Gathering.
The Art
is
of
one.
Gathering.
The Art of Gathering by Priya Parker.
Okay.
That's one. So I read that, learn, okay, why, how do you want to invite people to a gathering? What's the purpose? What should they expect? And there's a whole bunch of things about creating an opportunity. I don't know what's the right word, but bringing people together. How do you structure that, right? And then number 2 is Seth Godin. His book, what's it called? Tribes or Tribe. That as well. If you're looking at building a community, that is a highly recommended book.
Why is this community thing so important to you?
I only got into this thing because of trail running. Like people say the vibes, but I think it's how you feel. I think, right? Being in that,
The vibes?
yeah, I suppose, yeah, within that the environment. If you go to a triathlon training session versus a trail running session, it's completely different. The feeling like this. Like in a triathlon training session, for example,
Yeah.
it's about, okay, this is the pace, this is the thing, go out, do it, don't quit, that's it. But over here with trail running, because it's so varied and it's so diverse, in terms of the terrain, in terms of like people's abilities, like trail running is for everyone. You don't have to be fast, but in triathlon, the focus is on how fast can you go.
Right.
It's always about the time. Over here with trail running, it's about the experience. Like, hey, you can do it. It's very supportive, and I felt that when I first got into trail running, and I wanted to basically replicate that feeling in a group setting, right? So, and make it more consistent. So, and that's where it came about. And the word radiate, right? Coming back to the name, why radiate?
Yeah.
Being intentional, because based on my upbringing, so I'm a Buddhist, right? And we were taught that every person has Buddhahood in them, and we want people to live to their full potential. And that's where radiate comes from. Like, you radiate by being your true self, right? That's one pillar. Number 2, you radiate by giving warmth to the people around you, right? You're not just here for yourself, but you're here for other people as well, right? You can show up as yourself, being a true self. You show up for other people, and also you show up for yourself, right? like bask in your glow. You know, yeah, you're not doing this for anyone else. No one chooses to go out into the freaking woods at 3 a.m. to do 50 Ks if it's for someone else.
Not many people do that.
Right. You have to do it for yourself. And then it comes back to, you know, finding out what fulfills you.
Hey, can I counter that? I didn't come over to Sri Bintang at 11 p.m. at night for myself.
Okay, yeah. Because then you're showing up for other people. You're bringing that warmth for other people, right?
Yeah, man.
So it's that balance, right? And at times we need to switch. Sometimes we need to be clear, like, hey, I'm doing this for myself.
Yeah.
That's something that I'm struggling with. You know, like you're always doing things for other people. Not saying that you're a people pleaser, but you're putting you're putting other things, you're prioritizing other things. We're always prioritizing other things before ourselves. I think that's, I don't know how, if it's like how society or how we're brought up, like, but we always think about ourselves last, or if rarely do we think of ourselves first.
I have a
general statement.
General statement, sweeping one. I have a different opinion on that. So, and I think coming back to when we first started having a chat, like the idea of turning up for other people and serving other people and giving back and all that, by virtue of that, it's like, well, I'm turning up for myself. And I think it comes down to your own kind of values and belief system. It's like, well, how do I prioritize myself? Is, well, I want to make sure that I'm fulfilled and experiencing joy and happiness and all that, and that comes from the sense of giving back. So the idea, again, coming to support you, even though it was for only a short period of time, it's like, oh my god, I can't believe it's there. It's like, yeah, it's to support someone else, but then I get that sense of fulfillment. So it's like I'm kind of prioritizing myself through you. Because I want to support you, and then by way of supporting you, then I feel good, and then like, oh yeah, this is good. And then when I go to bed at night, I'm like, holy shit, yeah, that was fun.
Yes. Yeah.
I suppose, what's your intention? What's the intention behind doing the things that you do? If you're constantly giving, like, because you feel you have to, it can kind of run its course, build resentment. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. Like you need to want to do it, right?
Yeah, that intention behind the things that you do. Mahan Kaus's book, Let's Get Real or Let's Not Play, the sales book, intent counts more than technique. I always think about that. So what's your intention behind showing up for your customers, your clients, the people you work with? It's like your intention is just to see how much you can drive them, what you can squeeze out of them, rather than actually helping them succeed or whatever. It's like, eventually it's not sustainable.
Right, yeah. But I think showing up for yourself as well is like not sacrificing yourself for other people.
Yeah.
I think that's quite important. Like you need to take care of your, like if you had an emergency going on at home and you have to come and support, I would say take care of your emergency, because show up, you need to prioritize yourself so you can actually show up for other people. I think that's very, very important. Like
we have definitely spoken about this before on the GM podcast.
Have we?
What was it? Secure your oxygen mask first.
Right.
This whole concept.
Yeah.
So Radiate Running. If people want to join, where can they find it?
Instagram, Facebook, just send a DM.
And it's spelled. Do the spelling.
Shit.
I should put it in the show notes.
Yeah, you could. Radiate. Running.
Radiate.
Radiate. Yeah.
Check that out.
Yeah.
So Radiate came first, before Trailside.
Yes.
Intentional? Did you know Trailside was going to be a thing?
No.
Okay.
So I started Radiate, and then we have weekly sessions here at Bukit Kiara, and after every session, I just hang out in whatever cafes that's available, and then sometimes we just go home, right? So the idea was what if there was a space for us to hang out, just chill as runners, with a shower. Very important, with a shower, right? Because a lot of people travel, they don't live around here.
Yeah.
You have to drive back, and previously we have to basically shower with the bum gun in the toilet stall. How pleasant, you know? When I wrote down, I can show you my notebook, like my 10-year plan, you know, for Radiate. This is not at the top of the list. This is probably somewhere 3-4 years down the line.
When you started Radiate, it was very, again, coming back to that thing, very intentional, and a 10-year plan for Radiate.
Yeah. I want it to be a social enterprise, and that's how I'm designing it as well.
Okay.
Like the social impact here is bringing people together, you know, making people feel welcome, supported. You know, that's why I also did like a mental health hike in November, making sure that, you know, just taking care of your physical body, right? Like mentally, we are here to support each other as well, right? And that's the impact I want to make. And it has to be free. Like that's why all the runs are free. You know, that is the social kind of like thing. Then where does the enterprise come from? There are many ways to generate income. So that's where the 10-year plan comes in. Like, okay, what are the different streams? Where could I generate income to be able to funnel into, I say scaling, but going back to give back to the community, creating better programs, giving them better kind of like, I don't know, facilities and all that. Yeah, that's how it started.
10-year plan.
Yes, and this was supposed to be 3-4 years down the line. Wasn't planning to do this soon because I knew it was gonna be capital intensive. You know, renovations, getting equipment, like your capex is gonna be like 5 if not 6 figures.
So even though you were kind of, it was kind of in the roadmap, is that right? Trailside.
It was on the roadmap, just not this soon.
What accelerated it?
Business partner. Yeah. I think she was like, okay.
So very quickly coming back to Radiate. So did you start Radiate on your own or with
on my own?
Oh, you started that on your own.
Yeah.
And then obviously the people that came down, I imagine 1, 2, 5, however many of them turned into business partners. Is that right?
No.
What was the situation then? How did the business partnership come about?
I mean, I knew my business partner for a while.
Yeah.
It was before I started trail running, right? Yeah, we were both in the community, right? We were just running, and I think for my business partner, she started something similar in Vietnam, like a cafe / active place for people to come, hang out, and the community is focused on like active lifestyle people, right? So I realized, okay, you know what? She has the experience. I have the community that needs something like this. Should we start something similar here, right? She's also looking at creating similar shit. Don't want to get like a long-term visa here in Malaysia. Me, the best way is to start a company.
Right. Okay.
So just these patterns of people just taking charge of their own luck. Like, why be employed, and what if they fire you, or what if you're out of a job, then you're not able to stay, right? So
would you class yourself as a risk taker?
Calculated, I would say. I think I'm not super risky. I take calculated risk. Like if this whole venture would cost me a lot of money to operate, I would say no. Yeah. Right now it's still okay. Like we're not breaking even just yet, but it's not too bad.
I'm curious, risk aside, for Radiate Running you have your 10-year plan, which you wrote yourself. At a time you don't have any co-founder, business partner, whatever you want to call it. And then all of a sudden you start having a conversation with somebody about the vision for Radiate. And then this other person, your now business partner, says, why don't we do this tomorrow? How did that conversation go? Like, how did it start? Because you said that like something like Trailside was in the works, and then all of a sudden it gets accelerated by, say, 4 years. Like, how did that come about?
So my business partner was like, I guess the the career side, it's getting a bit taxing, right? So you're just looking for an out. Like, okay, where does she want to put her attention to and energy, and realize, okay, you maybe starting something similar here in Malaysia would be an option, right? And start it early. Don't wait until like 10 years later when you actually, yeah, 10 years later when you actually are super tired of your work, and
Yeah.
then you want to start. That'd be too late.
So
So
that push-pull factor, like... are you
yeah,
doing-
yeah. I guess it's more of like push.
Yeah.
Like tired of the job.
Tired of life, want to do something else.
Yeah, yeah. So that's how it got accelerated, I think. Which also comes, I guess, something that I've learned is like, we talk about the void, right? And a lot of bad decisions come from doing things because of a void. Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's easy to look at it retrospectively and say, oh yeah, shouldn't have done that, or should have made that decision and things like that. But I don't know who said this. Like, necessity is the mother of all invention. Is it Einstein or something?
I don't know. Somebody way
Yeah,
smart.
please fact check me. Because if you don't have that push,
who do you reckon it was?
Einstein? No, was it Edison?
Mate, go a bit further back.
Oh, no idea.
It looks like you're on the same kind of same level as the Greek philosopher Plato. Yes, son. Mate.
Yeah, because sometimes you just need some sort of fire to push you to do something. Even if it's like you don't have a clear direction, or even if it's a push thing, something needs to trigger, right? Like, otherwise, if life is comfortable, we wouldn't have innovation. We wouldn't have all these things. So I think there needs to be a pain, or to push people into action.
I've been thinking a lot about that recently. The negative emotions and how they drive action. But this isn't about me, this is about you.
No, yeah, because I mean, life will throw shit at you. Like, we were running the other day. I said, wherever you turn, there are problems everywhere. It's how you react to it. How do you face these problems, right? So it comes down to that. Like, okay, there are problems everywhere. What actions can you take to move you in the right direction?
I think, which problems are you willing to tolerate, to work on? You choose, right? Whether that's small ones or the big ones that are going to drive you forward, whether you embrace those anxieties and fears about stuff failing and just crack on, or you go the other way and seek comfort elsewhere, and then you have that pain of regret later on down the line. I still want to know about this kind of... Monday, Trailside was a plan. Tuesday, Trailside like 3-4 years away. Tuesday, let's do it. Let's find a space. There's a point where it's like so far away, and then the next day, 24 hours later, it's like an accelerated, like, wow, let's do a space. Why not now?
Okay. Yeah, I think
how do you take that leap?
Right. One is many factors, right? One is looking at the experience of my business partner. Like, I don't want to go in not knowing anything. As in, like, I don't know how to run this business. Like, don't know anything about the business. I guess also I have experience in F&B, so that kind of helps as well. Like, in terms of like recipe development and all that. That's why the sandwiches are so good.
Honestly,
good plug.
I was speaking to Carly about this the other day. Trailside is a great place to come, and like random people will turn up. It's like, your neighborhood bar, right? You go down there, you're going to see somebody that you know. So it's a great place to come and hang out after like being in the trails or whatever. So you wouldn't come here for the food normally. It's like it's not, you come here for like the afters from
Right,
trails.
yeah.
But the fact when you come down here, it's actually really good food. Like the egg sandwich down here is, sorry, I'm not a vegan, but it is legit. And the croissant, I think there's only one of the places I've been to on my croissant journey that has an on par croissant. Croissant. It's legit. The other thing is, as you know, the banana date latte. Would you call it a smoothie or what would you call it?
It's a latte. It's not a smoothie.
Ice banana.
Iced banana latte. Yeah.
It is the freaking best, man. It's like crack. It's so good. It is so good.
Good.
So it's good that you got a good space, but then you've also got solid food as well.
Yeah.
It sounds like a plug. It's not.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. I'm trying to look for a critique, but it's yeah. Anyway, yes. Sorry.
Anyway, yeah. So it's understanding. Okay, look, we combined. We have the capital. We have the experience. We might not have everything figured out. We have our community, which has supported us since day one. And just like, if we didn't have the community, I wouldn't have started this, because who the hell is gonna come to this building that's like camouflaged?
It is.
By the side of the road. No one ever notices it.
I've never been here.
Yeah, they have very bad. I don't know. Not even SEO. Like, no one knows about this building.
You wouldn't come here, right? You just go past it, go into the trails. That's it.
Yeah. So this is a hidden secret. So for all the food reviewers out there, hidden treasure kind of like video. Yeah, come here. It is hidden.
They should come down and review the egg sandwich and prove me wrong. Prove me wrong about this egg sandwich.
Yeah. So,
anyway, yeah,
it's a combination of those things. Like, okay, you know what? Let's give it a shot. Like, and I think you've also kind of like instilled this mindset into me. Like, if it doesn't work out, you can always change, quit, whatever.
Yeah.
But as long as you try, right? But something that I've learned is also like, what's the cheapest way we can try and test out an idea before investing a lot of time and energy into, like,
dude, there's better ways to experiment rather than opening a real cafe.
Yeah,
is that one experiment?
I mean, I've thought about, okay, if we were to do a pop-up, or if we were to just start a little, tent somewhere.
Yeah.
That was also an idea, but I guess we somehow thankfully found this space that's close by. I think location was one big thing for us, because we don't want to be too far away from the trails.
Yeah.
Because shower before you get in the car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What would have happened if you hadn't had that conversation with your business partner?
I would have followed according to my plan. Which I kind of still am, right? Like, for example, like the shirt, this is also a revenue stream. Like, maybe start a clothing line, right? To generate revenue, and then that goes back into the community, like supporting like when we had our like retreat, for example, like a 1-year anniversary, food is completely paid for, right? You don't have to pay for food, because that comes out from the funds of the revenue that's generated. So a lot of these things that still in my plan, this is one, like, probably like some sort of like coaching or training plan or program. So many ways to make money.
Was it a worry for you when you were starting the community or starting Trailside? It's like, how are we actually going to make money? Were you thinking about that?
No.
Did it?
Because I knew with the community, even if I didn't have a way to generate revenue, like I was doing it for free, like the whole way, right? Like the whole year really. It wasn't until like later that I thought about, okay, how do we make it into a social enterprise? I wasn't worried, but because it's very low cost to kind of like keep it the same. But if you want to, for example, like create developmental programs, like at the cafe we have like a plyo box, we have like sandbags.
Oh, you do? I completely missed the plyo box.
Right. So all these are, equipment used for development in your training and all that. So this has to come from somewhere. Yeah. So I don't mind forking out, because it's not super expensive, if you amortize it or across a few years. If I didn't have a way to generate revenue, would it still be okay? Yeah, it'll still be okay. But will it take the community or the people within it to improve and get to the next level? Probably not. Everything will just stay the same. It's all about how do you make progress over time. Because yes, we have a great community, but people will need to see like, yeah, I'm actually getting better. By coming every single week, joining the training, mingling with people.
Have you thought about how you would replicate the, I'm not going to say serendipity, but the conversation you had with your business partner, which brought this idea to fruition 4 years early? Have you thought about like the other ideas that you could maybe bring forward?
Yes, it's in progress. I would say the other ideas.
Because the clothing line as well, like was this like 3-4 years off? Was this like
no? This was kind of like one of the top immediate ones.
Yeah.
I spoken to Hugo, co-founder of PMC and Atlas Collective.
The name sounds familiar. Has he got a brother?
Yeah. Brother of Marco. CEO Super. Yeah. Yeah, I've spoken to him, just learning about what is it like to run or start a clothing line. I've also spoken to, manufacturers in China and what it's like, and realized like, shit, it's quite capital intensive. Like you need to have 5 figures in USD to even start something like this, right? And how this come about? Through my business partner and through this cafe. Like she know the manufacturer of these guys, and like because we have that, I don't know, contact is who you know essentially, right?
Or rather, who knows you?
That too, right? Then the opportunity came, and now we're able to have our own Radiate running shirt. I'm planning different designs as well. So we have like a scheduled drop, I guess. Yeah. And then for the coaching side of things, we have a newcomer like Christian. I don't know if you met Christian.
I have. He slid into my DMs.
Oh, okay, great. Yeah. So
I reluctantly replied because I heard about his training regime.
So we're creating training programs.
Yeah. By the way, in a good way, he is brutal. I've seen like his splits and his time. That's not me at the moment.
He's a road runner, right? So if you want to build speed.
Yeah. That's tomorrow, right? We're going to do track?
Yeah.
We're going to get back down the track.
Yeah. So
100%. Yeah.
So you just need to get one thing moving. That will lead to another thing, and lead another thing, and it's good.
I think capitalizing on momentum has been a big thing from a lot of people I spoke with. It's like, okay, how do you continue that momentum and build on it and build on it and build on it and keep it going?
Yeah.
It seems to be like a compounding kind of thing. Like one thing leads to another. Serendipity happens. People join the dots.
And the one thing something that I've always I say always, but more recently, I think in the past 2 years, is forget about timeline.
I feel like you're giving me advice now, so I'm listening.
No, this is me giving me myself
I'm leaning
advice.
in.
Yeah.
Forget about timelines.
Forget about timelines. You want a certain things to happen at a certain time, forget about it. Just believe that it will happen. It will happen. It's not up to you to control when it happens.
Okay. On that, do you set goals?
Yeah. Ish. Rarely these days, because it's more of the journey.
Okay.
Like, how do I want to live every single day? Like, who do I want to be? What do I want to do? What is that life experience like? Rather than...
See, that's why we come down here.
Yeah, it's just all friends coming to the cafe.
All friends coming to the cafe.
It's at the back, yeah. Yes, there are things that you intentionally set out to achieve.
Yeah.
Yes, you can have those, but don't forget that the journey matters too. Like who you are right now, like who do you want to be essentially.
Oh, come on,
it's
man.
The be, become, do. These 3 things. Like
you're speaking to my heart now, right? Like, who do you want to be? Who do you want to be?
Generous. We talked about generosity in the beginning. Like that is.
Did you just sell a shirt?
2. Yeah. So it's being generous, being kind, not just being abundant, really, right? and also I guess be intentional, like having that purpose always, not just going with the flow, right? And who do I want to become? Someone who's like supportive to the people around me.
So here's a weird thing.
Yeah.
So I was just asking, like, who do you want to become? Are you not that person right now?
You are, yeah.
No,
exactly.
are you not that person
I
right
am, yeah. Because then you don't have to, all these things,
Yeah.
you don't have to wait to achieve. Like, unless you say, I want to become Usain Bolt, or I want to become Eliud Kipchoge.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that might take a while, but then it comes down to what can you emulate from their actions, their daily life, then you're already them. You don't. Are you waiting for the status for people to say, oh yeah, that guy is like, are you waiting for external validation, or like, I'm living their life. They're running every day, they're running fast, whatever. The results might not be the same, but still.
I am curious. So firstly, how would you describe yourself right now?
That is a very loaded question. How would I describe myself right now?
Or better yet, think about the person that's closest to you. How do you think they would describe you?
Oof. Overwhelmed.
I think I'd describe you as a person, not as what you're going through.
Yeah. I don't know. I would say, yeah, I guess generous, kind, supportive, disciplined.
Fuck yeah. I think if you look that up in a dictionary, they're just going to be there'll be a picture of your face.
Thanks. I hope it's a good one. Not an under chin photo. Ooh, it's me.
Fucking stupid.
Those immediately came to mind. Like,
Yeah. And based on a lot of the stuff that you do right now, so I like to think in terms of trajectories, right, rather than kind of fixed point in time. So a lot of the stuff that you do and the experiences that you go through right now and the decisions that you make are putting you on a certain path, right? The trajectory is like of who you actually turn out to be in the future. Based on the things that you're doing right now, what kind of path are you on? Who are you going to be? 5 years? 10 years from
good
now?
question. So, I did mention I'm overwhelmed right now. So, the vision isn't as clear at this point in time.
Right.
Which I need to set aside time to kind of like clarify that vision again. Like, okay, I know I'm heading in the right direction, but what does that end state kind of like look like?
Yeah.
I still not clear. I have the direction. I just don't know what the end state looks like. There's a lot of things. I guess it's important to set aside moments to kind of like clarify your vision over and over again. I think it's an iterative process.
Yeah. Would it help if we did a session after track tomorrow?
Sure. Yeah. It would. I just need to set aside time. I think that'd be good. Yeah.
So it's like we're already going to be at track.
Okay.
We've already run, endorphins are high. And to be fair, you know what will happen? We'll be standing around and we'll have a chat about it. And within about 30 seconds, you'll be like, yeah, I know exactly what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Because it's that moment in time. You know when you start to ask a question, it's like, oh, I don't know how to do this. Hey, can you tell? I don't know, as you're asking the question, you figure out the answer for yourself.
When we were running, you asked me a few questions, right?
Oh, yeah.
And I think there's also...
Yeah, we were running at, what is a 4:30 pace?
Yeah.
We were like 22 Ks in.
Yeah, very fast.
Yeah.
Ran very far.
Yeah.
There's my immediate reaction to these questions were like discomfort, because it's not comfortable to face the truth. You already know what the truth is. Everyone knows. It's like, do you want to face it? That is the hard part. Facing the truth.
How do you do that and not shy away from it?
It takes time. I think depending on what you're facing, some things take, like, you don't just find the courage the next day to take on something huge.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I don't know, something that's like probably super devastating. I don't know, like maybe a divorce, for example. Maybe you're facing problems with your marriage. How do you, and you know like that is the truth. Like this is not working out.
Yeah.
But to really decide, okay, you know what? Yeah, maybe I need to actually just see it for what it is, accept it, and then take action. That takes time. I think that I don't know. I'm not going through that, so I don't know. But I'm just as an example. I bet it's not an easy thing to face because ego comes into play as well, right? Like, shit, I made a mistake here. Can you face your own ego to say that shit? You're not that good at
Living.
yeah, I don't know, right? So
It's interesting when you talk about ego. I'm sorry to cut you off. Like that's why I was curious about like making the decision to start your own thing, making the decision to do the t-shirts, making the decision to not have a job. I mean, there's a certain income you have right now, but then making the decision to open this. There's always that thought of, well, what if it fails? But it seems like you're detached from that ego-driven decision. It's just like, I want to try it because the community needs it, or I want it for the community, and I think it's going to be a good place. And it's like, well, if it fails, it fails. It's like there's like that detachment from that outcome, and I don't know if that's a correct observation, but I'm just curious to hear your thoughts on this. It's like a lot of people get like paralysis by not wanting to make a decision. One, because they think the decision is finite, and if it fails, then they're a failure. And two, it's like, well, what if it fails, and how people are going to judge me? And it's like, oh, I'm going to be a failure to other people. And I'm just curious about how you kind of think about that.
well, I'm glad I'm presenting it that way.
Yeah.
But I think there's still a lot of attachment, right?
Internally, it's like,
Yeah. Like when things, how should I'm trying to find a way to elegantly put this.
put it not elegantly.
The fear of failure. When we have that, we try to grip on even tighter to whatever that we are afraid of failing. Like marriage is failing, we try to grip on even tighter, try to not make it fail. When a business is failing, we try to do more, we try to keep it alive. When a plant is dying, we're like, fuck, put more fertilizer, water it, just let it die. no, it's natural, right? Like we don't want to see things fail because we want to see growth, we want to see progress, and that's I guess natural reaction. So we try to hold on even tighter. But something that I'm thinking, more and more recently is like, what if we just let it go? If things aren't meant to be, who are we to force it? Like, because I believe like, if I don't know, you're just starting out this podcast, right? Maybe a good question to ask is like, how many businesses have you tried and failed before you landed on this one that's successful? Because founder and product, or founder market fit, people have talked about that, like founder and problem fit, for example. Are you the right person to solve that problem? Are you the right person to deliver the service? Maybe not. People say, oh yeah, I have this calling, I need to do this, and it works out for them. But so I think it's being okay with like just letting things go. I think that's very difficult for myself, and I think for quite a few people as well, right? Like,
I think for when throughout having this conversation with you, you mentioned a lot about kind of the vision, like 10-year plan and all that kind of stuff. You're always talking about, well, what does the community need, and how can you give back and all that kind of stuff, and then that's the focus. We haven't really spoken about the day-to-day kind of nitty-gritty, like orders not turning up or staff not turning up or anything like that. Like the thought is, how can you open this thing for other people? So it's like, there's no fear of failure. It's like, well, I'm doing it for other people, then if this doesn't work out, then I'll find another way to serve the client, the customer, whatever it
Exactly.
is.
Yeah.
So it's like the detachment from the failure is just like, well, I want to turn up, and these are the types of people that I really want to help.
Mm-hmm.
So I've got to find a way, like whatever it might be. It might
Yeah.
be this, it might be something else.
Exactly. Right. So not. I mean, yeah, exactly. Like you still focus on it. Like for example, if this thing doesn't work out the way it is right now, what are the other ways? Right? If let's say staff is a headache, I think staffing for most F&B, it's quite tough to hire good people, retain them, just because the turnover is so rapid, right? Should we just put vending machines, right? Should we move to recreate this space where you come and hang out and everything? Coffee's done well, but it's served by a machine, for example, right? Food, it's in a vending machine, for example. There's so many ways to kind of like reiterate. But if we see that, okay, you know what? Based on what the market is telling us, like no one wants to come to this space. This is not what they need. They prefer to go to, I don't know, a kopitiam or I don't know, right? It could be something else. And if it's not working out, it's not working out. Like you can't, as much as we like to, ambitious people, right? People who are resilient, and you can be resilient, you can be ambitious, but you also need to be able to adapt and see and face the truth. We talk about facing the truth. Like, look, this is not working out. Apply your energy in things that work. Right? You can be a hard worker but not get anywhere.
How do you there's a lot of talk about perseverance. I've got a question for you on that. How do you know when it's the right time to pivot? Was it Acres of Diamonds? It's like a parable, fable, story, but essentially it is like the farmer that was digging for diamonds or whatever, and it's like he stops right before he's actually supposed to like get to the riches kind of thing. How do you know?
You don't. So coming back to you don't control time.
Yeah.
You know the outcome that you want. You believe it will happen, right? But you also need to get. You need to know. You need to get signals that hey, I'm in the right path. This guy didn't have any signals. Is he randomly digging, or did he found that spot because he's done geology study?
I think the story is like it's his farm kind of thing, and he's digging on this because apparently there's like something around, and then he basically sells it. And it's largest. I can't remember. I'm completely butchering the story.
Right. I don't know. So it depends. If it's not for you, if it's not meant for you, it's not meant for you. Like I'm starting to adopt that.
So what are the signals that you look out for? Signals of this is working, this isn't working.
We're talking strictly about business, right?
Sorry?
We're talking strictly about this.
Let's talk strictly about Trailside, for example.
Okay.
What are the signals that you're looking out for to say this is working, not working? Is it simply the POS data? Because that's what will sustain this? Or is it like the number of people coming through the door? Is it like, which one is it? Number of customers, size, orders, revenue?
Yeah. The number never lie. Numbers don't lie, right? So numbers need to keep going up. You need to know if your effort in the returns of your investment, is it there, right? If let's say you're spending X amount on this particular initiative or this particular event or program and all that, is there a return, right? Then comes to the point about how do you know when on the right track? You can't just do it once and expect a result. I did not get any people coming in, joining Radiate the first run. I could have just given them like, you know what? No one showed up. Bye. But no, I stuck through it every single week. You need to stick in it for long enough to see a result or no results at all. But how do you know when? I can't really tell, because this comes down to living and being and doing rather than expecting a result. So I live and breathe Trail. Like I run doesn't matter if no one shows up. I'm gonna be here every weekend, and I'll be running the trails.
Sounds threatening. I'm gonna be here.
I'm gonna be here. Yeah. So if people show up, cool, great, come. I'm gonna do it anyways.
So there's a weird fine line or balance between the definition of madness is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result, or is it doing the same thing over and over again, has compounding results, and it's like you wait for that kind of hockey stick. I'm always reminded of like Gary V, Wine Library, and all this kind of no one cared about the content that he put out there. Then all of a sudden people did care, and obviously it spiked, and well, you look where he is now. And you see that kind of time and time again, right? The people that just like you just show up, and then you show up enough times, 1 term to 2 to 4 to 8, so on and so forth. It's like, okay, so how do you know? And I think I'm not asking you this question to give me an answer right now. I think it's just one thing to ponder is like, well, when do you know is the right time to double down and do your own thing and go all in and continue to do it, even though you're seeing 0 results right now? You have that belief that you're in the right vicinity, on the right path, serving the right people, doing the right thing, versus actually, no. Like, for example, with Flourish, right? It's like 6 months in, it's like, no, this isn't going to happen. It could have been 6 months in, I need $100,000, so I'm going to go all in on this. So it's that balance between which path do you take. I'm not expecting you to have an answer. It's just something that I kind of think about. I don't know if you've got any comments, but I'm not looking for a give me the fucking.
I don't have advice. I don't have advice.
Yeah.
Right. Like it's different. I think. Like I don't know. For me, as long as you're enjoying doing it, you will continue doing it. It needs to be sustainable.
So I've got, and this was the other question I had written down. You were talking before about like that fire to go out and do something on your own, right? That kind of, I want to call it passion, don't know, but that drive to like, okay, I want to do this. So the fire to start. But I think the less spoken about is like the fire to persevere, and people call it resilience, whatever it is, but that literally is like getting up every day and just like, okay, things aren't working out, but I'm going to make this work. Where do you get it from? Because you say you're overwhelmed, right? So it's like, well, I'm going to stay in bed.
Yeah.
Rather than I'm going to get up at 5 o'clock and go for a run in the jungle first, and then I'm going to come down and open up my cafe and run it. Experience Center. Experience Center? Are we still there? Are we still at Experience Center? Or yeah, Experience Center.
Yeah. Moving towards that identity rather than
nice.
Just a cafe.
So where do you get that from? That fire to...
No, it's not every day.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, some days are just tough, right? Like you just need to like not let emotions and feelings dictate your actions. I think that's that's maturity,
so
essentially.
This is one thing that you said to me of something you listened to, and then you said it to me, and I was quite taken aback. It wasn't a min thing to say. You wouldn't say it to me directly. You were repeating what someone heard. Fuck your feelings. Just get it done. And set out to do the thing you said you were going to do when you said you were going to do it.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter how you're feeling about it.
Yeah. Yep.
But for you, days are hard. What keeps you going?
I don't know, man. Running.
Really?
I think regulating your emotions is quite helpful, because you are gonna feel tired. You're gonna feel, a whole bunch of shit is gonna happen in your life, right? Like, but work still needs to be done. I think it's more of like a promise to yourself and also to the people that you serve, right? Like, if there's no what do you call that? The stakes need to be high enough for you to not quit. You need to be really deep in, and it's like quitting is not an option. I think that will help. That will help make it easier to be like, yeah, I'm not feeling it, but if I don't do this, the consequences are gonna be like huge. That's one way, right? To it's like fire in your pants. Like, if you don't do the shit, everything's gonna fall apart.
Yeah.
That's one way. But ideally, we don't want to be in that situation all the time.
What's your way? Okay, take me back to, say, last week. Can you remember a shitty day that you had last week?
Every day.
Yeah, okay, that comes with overwhelm. Let's talk about that a bit later. But if you think about a shitty day last week, How did you show up? What did you do? Or rather, what was your thought process to show up?
I think just breaking things down. When things seems like difficult, overwhelming, just take one step. I think we talked about this, right? Just take one step. One step is easy, and then once you do that one step, you take the next step. My personality is I have very high expectations, right? So I'm like, okay, if you're not here, you're not making progress. So it's just resetting the expectation. Like, okay, you know what? This is not the day to do 1,000 things. Maybe you just start with 10, and then see how we get on. Another 10, another 10, another 10. That's how you get by, man. Like.
So what's the best next step? Just one step, basically.
For what?
Is that what you're saying?
Oh yeah. Just take the first step. Even if you don't feel like it. Like if you're like 100 kilometers in,
dude.
or if you're doing the freaking Everest thing and you're like
say.
70 k's in and you're feeling tired, you're mentally not there, you're sleepy. Just do one, will do.
How long did the Everesting take you on foot? Just for context.
27 hours.
27 hours.
Yeah. So I failed the first two because I set myself a target of sub 24 hours to finish it.
Right.
And then I just quit.
So basically, when you saw that you weren't going to hit the 24, you were
I just quit. Right? Rather than finishing, you just quit.
It's funny, eh? It's not like you couldn't have done it either.
No, I could have. Yeah, I could have just continued.
Yeah. I
probably finished it the first time around.
Yeah. And then I wouldn't have been dragged out at fucking 11 o'clock. Yeah. The balance between having high expectations of yourself, beating yourself up, and having self-compassion. How do you strike that balance?
No answer to that question right now.
Do you have any self-compassion?
I'm learning.
How are you learning?
I don't know. I have no idea. I think a lot of it is, I talk about like, if it's not meant for you, it's not meant for you kind of thing.
Yeah.
Because the ego wants to control everything. Like, okay, it has to be this way. I reset my vision to be this way. It has to be done this way, this way, this way, this way. When things don't go according to plan,
yep.
Then you try to control it because it's not meeting your expectations.
Right.
Right? And you're like, shit, I'm such a failure because I can't even get this done. I'm like, it's not working out. But then just realizing that, well, not everything is meant for you. That's the reality.
So, you know what? Talking about like opportunities and access to things, like, unfortunately, whether we like it or not, like, I'll tell you, I won't talk about general, I'll talk about myself. Like, I came from a certain background, and then obviously I have an internal monologue, dialogue, an internal story that I tell myself, whether that's about money or something else or achievement, or it's like, okay, this is what I'm supposed to achieve based on where I'm coming from. Mm-hmm. So it's like a self-limiting belief, right? Whereas actually it takes time to kind of break past that story, tell yourself a different story. So to your point, when you're talking about, maybe it's just not for you, I will have that conversation with myself, which will hold me back. So how do you overcome that? Do you have any internal stories that you tell yourself?
Just look at things from different angles. I think you look at things at different perspectives, right? Because the story is just one perspective. How could this story be true in a different way? Or is this story true how I'm seeing it now? What other lens can I look at this from? That'll give you a different perspective, and then you realize, you know what? Yeah, it isn't meant for me, right? Like, I feel like, I don't know, maybe it's just me, like, at this stage or at this point in my life, I'm just holding on to many different things. That's why I'm overwhelmed. How do you let go, right? Letting go, accepting and letting go. It's it's a skill that can be trained. It's a mindset, really, right? But we're not taught that in schools at all. No, because the teacher's like, you better get 100 or you better get an A. This is the way to do it. If you're not doing this, you're failing. But you're not taught to, hey, maybe it's not meant for me, and maybe I'm just a musical genius. I can't do math.
What's that famous saying?
Put into
You know,
boxes.
everyone's put into a box or graded the same way. It's like grading a fish, its ability to climb a tree. What's this? Who do you remember?
I just don't remember who the full
Judging a
complete.
fish on its ability to climb a tree. That's Einstein.
Okay.
it actually came from Einstein. It's a different way of judging. But I was more wondering about yourself.
Yeah. So that's also one way to not be too hard on yourself, because you're comparing yourself against your idea of who you should be, or comparing yourself against someone who's similar like you, and like, I should be like that. Then you're not, and then you're like, fuck. Where am I in life? You know, like, and you'd be hard on yourself. But the only person you should compare against is yourself. You know, who you were yesterday, and not against other people.
It's so difficult.
What?
It's so difficult in this day and age of like the speed of social media and all that kind of
Yeah,
stuff.
that's why I deactivated my Instagram a few times.
I know.
And like,
Have
just
you
to,
deleted my number as well, by the way? Because your face doesn't show up on my WhatsApp anymore. What's
Oh.
that all about?
Yeah,
You've removed your profile picture, or you just removed? Like.
yeah,
feel-
I did.
feel
I
bad?
just hit myself.
Far out. Why?
Yeah, because when you're overwhelmed, the last thing you want is someone asking you for stuff. I think that's what I believe as well. Like, if you were to start a business, you need there's no overnight success, and I think the reps that you put in over time builds your capacity to take on bigger and bigger challenges. No one just immediately starts a $1 billion company, and even if they did, it's an outlier or it's going to crash because they don't have the capacity to take on a huge problem. I think, that's why you're overwhelmed, right? Like, if you have a huge capacity to take on different things, why can some people manage multiple companies, for example? Where, like Elon Musk, not a very good example as a person, but as an entrepreneur, you know, Tesla, SpaceX, and now politics. How does he have the capacity to manage all these things at the same time and not feel overwhelmed? Maybe he is overwhelmed. I don't know, but
Probably doesn't sleep, as you know, if you've read his autobiography.
yeah, you need to have, before you take on a certain endeavor, know that, okay, you're going to be pushed beyond your comfort zone, and assess, is it too much for you? Like, do you have the capacity? Yeah.
I have many, many more things to ask,
I know.
but I respect the fact that you have multiple businesses to run.
No, I know.
What didn't I ask you that I should have?
What not to do? That's always, like an important thing.
Your to-don't list rather than a to-do list.
Because I believe like saying no is the key, is one of the main keys to being focused, right? And applying yourself in the right place, and that will take you to where you want to be. Yeah.
I'm going to play this back to you after our track session tomorrow. Oh, I'm thinking about prioritization. Oh,
What do you need to say
I've
no
heard,
to?
I've heard this great advice from this guy.
Yeah, and it comes down to facing the truth as well, right? Like, if you're gonna say no to this, you need to accept, like, okay, yeah, it's not what I want to do. So saying no to a certain thing gives you energy to say yes to other things. I think that's where you need to balance as well. Like, there's no clear playbook to say no to certain things and yes to certain things, because people have different, I guess, goals or visions for their life. But yeah, in a strictly business sense, what to say no to.
Yeah.
Number one, renovations, contractor. Make sure you have like, don't just rely on like a referral or word of mouth. Although yes, that is how you get a contact in, or like not a lead, but that's one way to find help.
Yeah.
But make sure that you need to know how to do due diligence.
What do you say? Trust but verify.
Right.
Trust the referral that comes in, but then verify through whatever due diligence that you need to do, so you're comfortable with yourself.
Yeah. So due diligence. Don't just trust. Oh yeah, because they're a referral, they're a friend, or I know them before.
Yeah.
And they just trust them to do things. Rarely the case that turns out well. You need to still do due diligence. Like professional. Business is business. Like I might know you as a friend or as a person.
Yep.
That's fine. We can have that relationship. But for business, I need to do my due diligence. Like, can you actually deliver?
That's what we did. Because you were a referral from someone else, right? Coming into when we worked together at Superhand. Still went through the interview process. Although I think my due diligence was very weak. I think you just turned up really well prepared and you're like, oh, okay. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, here you go.
Yeah. So don't just trust people. I think that's, I don't know, it might sound cynical, but that will save you a lot of pain when you're starting a business, right? When you're looking at suppliers, do due diligence as well. Don't just because they give you the best terms, they have all this, because when times go bad, you want to have reliable and trusted people that can deliver and help you out. What else are don't do's? Don't think any business is passive. There's nothing passive unless you're like just a shareholder.
Okay. Is passive income a fallacy? If it's not a...
Yeah, it is. I mean, at least in the beginning, it's not. Until you have a full-on system, everything runs on automation, then maybe at that point in time it becomes passive or more passive. You still need active management. In any business that requires people to operate, there's nothing passive about it. You still have to manage people. People don't just run automatically. Sometimes they don't show up. Sometimes they make a mistake. Sometimes they need encouragement. Sometimes when you're giving them bigger responsibilities, they still need to be coached. There's nothing passive about running a business, especially when it involves people. That's why even if you do a SaaS business, someone needs to code. Well, we have AI now, but how reliable that is, we don't know. So yeah, there's nothing passive about running a business that still needs people to operate. So don't buy into that.
These are good tips and tricks. It's like a to-don't list. The historical work and referrals and due diligence, nothing is passive.
Nothing is passive. Be prepared to do the work. Like seriously.
Dude, we should get back to doing our podcast, We should do another one.
Okay. Yeah, I've got a lot of life stories to unpack.
Yeah, it sounds like it. Okay, final things. What are you looking for next? And if anybody's potentially listening to the one or two people that might be listening to this, how might they be able to help out you and your business right now? Trailside Treats or Radiate Running.
Yeah, so for Trailside Treats, we are more than just a cafe, right? The vision is it's a home or a hub for people with active lifestyle to come refuel, recover, and socialize, right? So if there are any brands out there who want to, I guess, collaborate and to not just tap into our community, like the trail running community, but also bring their communities, their customers into experiencing what we have to offer. Yeah, happy to connect, right? And I think what I look forward to next for Trailside is really building out that vision as we talked about an experience center.
Yep.
So it's not just a cafe. People come here to experience what it's like to be in the trails, the community, the vibes. That's what it's all about, right? Similar to Radiate running, right? Want to work with brands, giving them that exposure into the trail running scene. We have a strong group of runners who are competing in races, right? Either locally or abroad. It's good visibility. Yeah.
I like it.
Next question.
Last question.
Oh, last question.
My last question. 10 years from now, where is Trailside?
I don't know.
Where would you like it to be? Multi-location, multi-geography?
Yeah. A consistent experience, right? To be able to scale, you want it to have a consistent experience, like in major trailheads in Malaysia. So people
have a place to go.
Yeah, have a place to go after they're done hiking. Because
that'd be really cool.
Yeah, right now there's no association of like, okay, where am I gonna get food before or after? Where am I gonna go shower before or after? Going into the trails.
You can have like a Strava or All Trails and all that kind of stuff for like different hikes or routes that you want to do. But I think one unifying thing, like if I see a Trailside at a certain location, I'd probably be more inclined to go to that location, experience the trails themselves, based on the fact that Trailside Treats is there. So it's like a destination.
Right.
But that's personally, obviously, choose what you want to hear. But I know that it's like, because I'm so familiar with Bukit Kiara, then I'll just come down here because I know the trails, right? But if I'm unfamiliar or I don't know anybody that actually goes down there, it's like, well, I can choose to go out to like the middle of nowhere, up to Penang, whatever it is, because Trailside is there. I'll drop in there. That'll be the place. That's my Waze destination. That's I know what's going to be there.
Right.
Egg sandwich, shower, and more than likely decent trails, because otherwise Trailside wouldn't be there. That'd be cool, but that's a selfish thing for me.
Right.
But then I'd be more encouraged to go somewhere like that.
That's good feedback, or that's good input. Like we do want to scale, and right now it's of course we're still early into the game. Play games you want to win. We're not playing the cafe game, F&B game. We want to create an experience, like you say, a destination, right? The cafe is not going to make us like millions. It's for the community. I think the only reason why we still continue to do this is because of the community. If you're just looking at pure financials, I mean, yes, you're a business, you still need to have good financials, but this early on, it's still okay. But yeah,
I'm actually really excited to see where this goes, and I'm really happy that this thing exists and you put yourself out there and you're doing it. Thanks, man. Any final thoughts before we hit stop?
Yeah, I'll leave you with this bomb. Number one.
What?
We talk about time, and I think I don't know, this message, I just want to get it across. Like, I believe a lot of things in life is this, and then you just see that hockey or whatever. Like you just need to have to build the reps. It's just a slog until you hit.
Right.
Take off. So just keep at it, really. I think you don't control time. No one knows when this is going to happen.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
Peace out, Cub Scout.
Cool. Thank you.
Bye. This has been the Mind'em podcast. Thank you so much for listening. It was my goal to give you as much value as possible, and I hope you've got that from this one. Question for you, based on what you heard: how will you think differently, and what will be the next best action step that you can take? If you'd like to be a guest, or simply like to have a conversation with myself and the team, feel free to reach out on any of our social channels. Go forth, be awesome, make a difference. Peace out.